The latest Big 12 power rankings are surprising. And where Baylor is ranked in it after a summer of optimism might just shock you. This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up there, everybody? Welcome to another week of Locked On Baylor, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Thank you so much for making it your first listen today and all the other days before and after that. I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. Mini crossover today with Locked On Big 12. We're going to talk about the latest preseason Big 12 power rankings and where Baylor falls into that. Fair or foul? I will let you guys decide. Plus, a coach we talked about at the end of last week is making waves in the Big 12, Deion Sanders, for once again, just not proving to be a very good guy. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And what that does for the Big 12. Plus, the Olympics are over. Baylor had a great showing there. We're going to highlight some of the best Bears that were out there in Paris and the medals they are bringing home. All that and more coming up on this episode. But now let's toss it to the crossover with Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12.
That is Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor, and these preseason Big 12 rankings. I want to go through the bottom half top. Here, you're going to want to stay. You're going to want to stay around. You're going to want to stay around for number 4.
I will. Oh,
and,
okay.
And number 8. They're wild. There's some wild moves here. Brett Ciencia with Pick 6 previews. It's voted consistently the best magazine in college football. Even better sometimes, most of the time, than Phil Steele. Number 1 most accurate Power 5 preview since 2012. Every single year. That's good.
Can I ask what that's based on? Or I believe you.
Stop.
Okay.
Don't even. Number 16 of the conference. I'm going to go through the first. I'm going to go up until 10 here and see if there's anything glaring stands out to you. 16, Houston. Yeah.
Sure.
15, BYU. First Jewish starting quarterback in BYU history is back, by the way. Keep that in your back pocket.
And Gary Bohannon is there. Baylor legend Gary Bohannon.
Gerald Bohannon is playing, the Earl, Arkansas guy. Number 14, Arizona State. At this point, it's like, yeah, kind of flip a coin. Sure, whatever.
Sure. And a couple more coin flips, I'm sure, in the next few.
13, Cincinnati. Hey, yeah. I thought we'd see you down here. Sweet. Maybe a little higher than I expected.
Or is it UC?
Yeah, it's UC.
That's too bad. That was close.
The number 12 team in the conference, Baylor, coming off a 3-9 season. Again, all right. That most people have that as pretty much their bottom of the league. Nothing's glaring right now. 11, Colorado. 10, Texas Tech. Colorado was 4-8 last year.
Yeah,
Texas
I think
Tech was disappointing.
I think you're looking at, especially those 11 through 14 being total coin flips too, in terms of
I would say
Colorado, Baylor.
BYU could be at the 13,
With BYU's got a tough schedule, and I don't think that helps them. But yeah, I mean, I could see 2 of those teams being bowl eligible and the rest not be, but I can't tell you what those 2 teams are. Tech at 10.
Also, Cincinnati's not very good.
Cincinnati's not very good. They lost to Baylor
be at 16.
last year.
I wouldn't be shocked at them at 16. Houston's defense is just god-awful. Terrible.
I kind of like Tech, though. I don't
10?
I don't want them. I don't expect them to win the conference. I guess I don't want them to win the conference either, but I don't expect them to win the conference. But 10 seems low for me.
Taj Brooks.
Although I like Taj Brooks a lot. They're saying Baron Morton is back to 100% or just about after that kind of weird missing out on the spring ball. And he's been inconsistent in his past, but I like the upside of Baron Morton. Love Taj Brooks. I just see them as one of those upper middle of the pack, upper middle class teams in the Big 12. I see them at a 5th or a 6th rather than a 10. That just seems low. I think there are other teams that we're going to mention here in a minute that should be lower than them.
Maybe. And we can pick those out. The Colorado at 11. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 1 quarterback room in the conference. They have Shedeur Sanders, who might win the Heisman Trophy. Number 15 rated running back room in the conference. Number 3 rated wide receiver. The offense is going to be really good. Problem is defense. No goo. They like the D-line.
What did they say about the offensive line first?
The Colorado offensive line is 16th in the conference.
Yeah.
So that is
God awful
transfers.
last year.
Transfers taken into account, and in Brett Ciencia's all-transfer team, they did get Tyler Johnson and Khalil Benson both on. So they've reloaded. The O-line's going to be better. There's not continuity, which there doesn't need to be. They were terrible. He still doesn't think they're going to be very good. Number 9 in the Big 12, West Virginia.
Almost heaven.
I don't know. Garrett Green, good. Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson in the same backfield, good. Hudson Clement, he's back, good. Their O-line is pretty much all back.
I'll ask this about the skill position players.
Yeah.
Does it feel that much better than Tech?
Ooh. Yeah, C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White are both really good.
Okay.
Garrett
Green. I'm
Green
thinking it's better, but I just don't think it's that much better. And so I don't want Tech at 10. But if you're saying, hey, wherever Tech is, West Virginia's only one spot ahead of them, I'm like, oh, okay, that checks out. But 9 and 10, I will agree. It's not where I would have put them.
Notice
when
we
I put
haven't
mine out
seen.
on the table.
We haven't seen TCU yet. TCU hasn't come up. Number 8
Yes, I
team.
was thinking about that.
Number 8 team in the Big 12, the Kansas Jayhawks. I have Kansas in my top 3.
I think most people do.
And Brett Ciencia is a lot smarter than I am. He's got it at 8. Kansas at 8. Here's where we get real wild. Kansas has a new offensive coordinator, a really good defensive end coming in as well. I think he's got a red shirt, but could be the future. They're going to play Arrowhead. Awesome. Brett does not like Kansas.
Home of champions.
Brett does not like their offensive line either. And based on what we saw from Baylor's offensive line the last couple of years, you could argue who's to blame, but yeah, okay. And then Arkansas hired that guy. What was his name again? The big dude. He's a bigger guy.
Eric Mateos.
Eric Mateos. That's who it was.
Who was not with the Kansas offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes, last year with Baylor, right? He was gone. Mateos was gone before then. And he's not going to be with him this year. And that's a guy who was with him at BYU and the first couple years at Baylor.
Mateos was there last year.
Was he? I was thinking he was gone before the year. Okay.
No, because you and I are on ESPN Central Texas. He blocked me on Twitter, by the way.
That's cool. Now he's not with them.
We have a tie at number 6, TCU and Iowa State. I just don't know how TCU can be here.
I don't either, man. Look,
they don't really have a good quarterback.
Hater, but that's the thing. There's just I don't know what they have, man.
Yeah.
And what weapons are there? Like
defensively, usually there's one guy for TCU that you can name that you're like, yeah, that guy's going to be a tough weapon. And the 14th rated running back room, 11th rated quarterback room, 8th wide receiver tight end, 10th offensive line.
How does that get you to 6th? I know they're going to be high on the defense, but how does all that get you to 6th?
Yeah, really good defense. Brett's loving the TCU defense, but doesn't put a single TCU Horned Frog in his first or second team all defense. Caden Jenkins is there, though. I know you like that. There is, I think Iowa State's good. I like Rocco Beck. I think he's much better than, who's the TCU kid? He had a sister that worked in Waco.
Yes, Hoover.
Yep. Hoover. Because when they played BYU, it was like, oh, geez, Jake Retzloff and the Hoover kid. Oh, boy. Oof, turn your eyes away. Iowa State.
That was the first thing I thought of. I like Rocco Becht a lot.
Yep. Abu Sama.
It's for the short white guys. I'm in for it. Yeah.
Good. Iowa State has a number 5 offensive line in the Big 12. Not shocking at all. Tie at 4 between Arizona. Yeah. Okay. Noah Fafita, T-Mac.
Yeah.
And UCF. The Knights. Brett Ciencia gives them some love.
I think Fafita is really I don't want to say like the last hope for Arizona in the post-Jed Fish era, but I am surprised at how many of their players stayed, which might say something about the ball coach going up the Pacific Northwest. But as I've said it over and over about Arizona, it really is, to me, it needs to be proven in terms of they've had one good year the last decade or so, and the coach is gone from it the next year. And so I still think they've got a decent enough team out there, but it's a first-year head coach for them and a first year in the new conference. There's a lot of molehills to trip over there. UCF, I'm going to hear this one out first. Please go.
RJ Harvey, good. Kobe Hudson, good. KJ Jefferson, highest rated Big 12 transfer quarterback, good. Could have been all SEC if he didn't have a terrible offensive coordinator at Arkansas. I don't hate UCF defensively.
I wonder where that guy is now.
You're gonna have to their linebacker core is 5th. Defensively, they're not as good, but offensively, they're even. Like RJ Harvey's really good. It might be the second best running back in the Big 12.
Yeah,
Behind the guy who we haven't mentioned yet. UCF's good.
It just feels like there's a lot of youth on that defense.
Yeah,
to put them in the 4th. Like we're not talking about like they're giving no respect at all. We're talking about put them in the top 4.
Yeah. TCU, we put them 5 spots above West Virginia and 6 spots above Texas Tech.
I think TCU's the worst one right now.
Yeah, TCU's a tough one at 6. Kansas at 8. I struggle with.
That's also pretty bad. Yeah,
Top 3 needs almost zero breakdown. Number 3, Oklahoma State. Number 2, Kansas State. Number 1, Utah. Chalk. Saw that coming.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yep. Oklahoma State.
Can you imagine what Oklahoma State would be if they had a quarterback?
Yep, I know. Alan Bowman's
Golly, man.
And he's just not. He doesn't push the needle. And Kansas State has
who
they believe to be the second coming, and I think we should still probably put a little bit of a question mark there. We're really real high on Avery.
If we're going to be fair, I think you need a question mark on Avery Johnson. Yeah.
Yep. For a little bit.
I'm buying into the hype, Kansas State fans. I am buying into the hype a little bit. But
and then the entire starting offense and defense from the 2022 Pac-12 championship Utah Utes is back because they all died last season and have been revived. Coming up, Deion Sanders is nuts on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Passion, drive, patience. The things that bring home the winning trophy are also what makes your car, in my case, a car that I bought off Drake's parents, the MVP. It's what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you're always going to find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, that's guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, you're not burning cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions to apply. eBay's guaranteed fit only available to our U.S. customers. That's ebaymotors.com.
That's Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. Deion Sanders in the news again, in the headlines again. He says stuff sometimes. And this comes off the heels of Colorado posting that Twitter video that was darts only. And then it just cuts like, whoa, what has happened? And I do believe if you really break it down, it's the same play, but the visual is tough. Like,
unfortunately, I think it is the same play.
You, the media guy, have to go, hey, they're going to drag us for this. And immediately Akron posts their version and it goes, so, even Deion responded with, LOL, that's funny. He then, in a press conference, didn't think this was funny. A local reporter from CBS, hey, what do you think about that? He's like, I'm not answering your question. What? Yeah, you work for CBS. He's like, all love, respect to you. I'm not answering you. And come to find out, again, this guy has nothing to do with, honestly, CBS in general.
At all.
It's just the parent of the place that he works. Like, he doesn't really work for his checks are not signed by CBS. They're the Sinclair or something. And Deion's like, this is above you. This is above you. I'm not answering. I'm not talking to you. You're a great guy. I'm not talking to you. Because CBS rated him the 15th best head coach. It's not even like they put a hit piece out. They just put out their coaching power rankings.
In fact, someone else did put what you could consider a hit piece out on Colorado that week, but that's what Deion was focused on. There's two things to me that really stick out here, and that's the first thing is the actual article. He's ranked 15th out of 16 Big 12 coaches. That's not that unfair.
Yeah.
He's had 1 year in the Power 5, and they went 4-8. It's very similar to the guy behind him and Kenny Dillingham. Not a lot of experience, and a team that's coming into a new conference. Dave Aranda dropped like a stone in this one, by the way. I think he was 5th last year. He's like 12th this year.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Which good for him, by the way, at 12.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm just like, who were you arguing him to be over?
Yeah.
Willie Fritz, because he's in the first year in the Power 5. Maybe you can make that argument.
I don't think you can. He had a lot of success.
Right. He had a lot of success. in the group of 5. So even that doesn't carry much weight. So I don't know like what it is about that is going to piss you off that much. Like, who cares ultimately? And of course, I go back to this point. There was this Athlon Sports story about the CU football team and the toxic culture this week, and we didn't hear a lot of pushback on that from Deion. We heard some, not a lot. And then this goes viral because this is more important. This isn't about his players or his team. This is about Deion, and you can't come at Deion. And to go back to that point about the reporter working for the local CBS station, I think we need to clarify this even more. That has nothing to do with CBS. As someone who's worked in local news, who had to go around and even sometimes tough in Central Texas to say, hey, I'm with Fox 44. Oh, you work for Fox News? I don't want to talk to you. You're going to spend. These people are idiots. And like everyone knows that your local news station is not like my boss was not Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? And I just don't get how Deion does not understand that this guy has, so far away from CBS. They're not even really owned by the same people. Like you said,
they're not.
The CBS local station is owned by someone else. It just happens to be on your local CBS station. There's no other affiliation.
The guy who wrote
which is different from CBS Sports, which is where they're writing the piece. That has nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, they're not coworkers. The guy that wrote the piece and the guy who's sitting in the press conference doesn't even work. He's not even a coworker.
They don't know each other.
They don't.
And it was so.
It's not even like a local versus national thing. It's just they're not even owned, but they're not coworkers.
And then Deion says, I got respect for you. I got love for you, but I'm not going to treat you like a human being. Is what I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going to let you do your job.
Right.
Even though you're probably going to ask a perfectly reasonable question to me, although those lines have been blurred as to what is a reasonable question to ask Deion. Oh, sorry, Coach Sanders, because we need to call him that as if he's a doctor or something. And this is like Belichickian levels of treating the media like absolute garbage.
And let's say,
what it comes down to is him thinking, I am a better person than you.
You don't hate Bill Belichick.
Your time is not worth it for me. I don't hate Bill Belichick because I'm a big Patriots fan. I don't like how he treated the media, but I don't hate Bill Belichick.
I don't hate Deion Sanders. This isn't a Deion Sanders, I'm never going to go to his press conference now because I can't ask a question after this. If you're watching Deion, hey.
I don't hate Deion. I don't think Deion is an evil person, but there's nothing that I've seen that's like he's a good person. Like a great, shucks, that's who I want to lead me kind of person.
I did love the videos that came out last year of the kids that got cut. And granted, they probably all really, really sucked hard at football. But they were funny stories.
By the way, I don't mind that Deion did that or with the coaching staff. That is part of college football.
Like lying out of his office, you walk in and have you been rehabilitated? And then they give you the old boot. Then a reporter says you bolstered the offensive line, and Boyd shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have complimented his offensive line.
Word, man.
God forbid. And Deion's like, bolstered. What's bolstered mean? Like, what? You feel like you're a 60-year-old man. You probably
should know that. Yeah,
probably know bolstered. And
it's
then
a great school that Baylor's trying to add, or that the Big 12's trying to add.
Spectacular journalism on this guy's part, by the way. He then says something, he simplifies it to beefed up. We all know what beefed up means. And then,
still, that sounds like a cuss word to Deion.
Right.
Still, that's not good enough.
Say improved. Why do you have to pick? It's a synonym.
They're synonyms. They're all synonyms.
It's a synonym. Why do you have to pick the word that I use in the... Like, we're not trying to offend you by saying your offensive line is better, that you built an offensive line that's better. And it's still maybe not as good. I think my favorite moment from the press conference was when a reporter asked him about chemistry, and he asked, what is chemistry? Y'all don't even know about chemistry. Like, what? I'm done.
Again, just like, what does that mean? I know what all those words mean, Deion, but what do you mean we don't know what chemistry is? We're not in the locker room with your team, yes, but we're asking a general question about the chemistry of your team. You don't know what that is.
Well,
It's once again, it's
and
translated
that's why I'm
better
asking
than you, and you don't deserve an answer because I'm better than you.
I don't know
And
what the
you're
team's
nothing.
chemistry is. So I'm asking you. That's what the question is.
Did you know I'm in the Hall of Fame?
I do like his beard.
Prime time?
The beard's good. He's probably not going to be at Colorado next. And I'm not. I know the fans get mad when you say that, but he's probably not going to be at Colorado next year.
The Colorado fans get mad when you say anything.
Yeah.
The Big 12 fans were like the Hateful Eight fans were like, oh, dreading getting Utah into this conference with their fan base, and what they think Utah's fan base is, Colorado's fan base is.
Yep. And if I can be very, very honest with you, this is the case based on the last 10 years of college football. Colorado football didn't exist last year and doesn't exist this year. Deion Sanders does. The cameras are there. The media attention's there. The stories, the headlines are there. Not because Colorado football is playing, because Deion Sanders is playing. Maybe he knows that. Maybe that's why he can be a butt.
And there's no guarantee that this is a bowl season for Colorado.
No. They start hot. They could be 4-1 to start. Or they could also lose North Dakota State.
I was gonna say that would be a very impressive 4-1 with North Dakota State and at Nebraska in there, and then Baylor. But
yeah. Their schedule gets tough
Tells
at
off.
the end. It's Cameron Stewart at Real Cam Stewart, also on the Cam Show, where you can use swear words. No FCC there.
Yes, and that's where I will have more of my Deion Sanders thoughts, because the linguistic limitations of the glorious people at Locked On Network censors me a little bit.
Deion Sanders also censors people. He has linguistic limitations on reporters.
Yes.
Don't say chemistry. Don't. I've never heard a local news TV guy ever ask a hard question once. Ever. They can't.
No.
They
can't.
I
love that both of his answers there were the second and third question there were, I don't know what that means, and then you don't know what that means.
Yeah, bingo. Dropped it. What is bolstered? Beefed up. No, wrong.
How dare you? How dare you? First,
how about improved? All right, great.
FanDuel. Today's episode is also brought to you by them as well, because we all love sports, especially me. It's like the only thing I can talk about. In fact, I just got a book from my future father-in-law that I don't think I'm going to be able to read because it's not about sports, and I'm an egghead. And right now, the sports aren't going on. We just said goodbye to the Olympics. We're in the dog days of baseball, and we are just pleading for these next few weeks to go by quickly so we can get to football again. But until then, FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I got to do is open up the app, dream up any bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. That's FanDuel.com. As I've mentioned now twice, we are through with the Paris Olympics. Tom Cruise did that thing. I don't know. Looks great for his age. But we're done. We're done with the Paris Olympics. We have had some great stories there. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, all that great stuff. And I haven't highlighted much of the Olympics going on for Baylor, even though there was plenty of Bears representing in France. Did get to do a piece about Nuni Omot, who we're still waiting to hear if an NBA team is going to come calling. There's about a few weeks till training camp here, probably 4 weeks, until we get training camp going. So I'm hoping we hear that news soon. But we do have the medals for the Bears, 4 Bears earning medals at this Olympic Games. Christy Wallace, former fan favorite. Well, I guess always a fan favorite, but definitely one of the big fan favorites when I was in school playing with the women's basketball team. She was representing Australia, of course, and won the bronze medal. That's not the only time I'll be busting out that accent. Avery Skinner from volleyball with the silver medal. What a run by the U.S. women in indoor volleyball to win the silver medal. And, of course, gold for Brittany Griner, U.S. women's basketball. 8 straight gold medals, and that's now the 3rd for Brittany. I could be wrong on that. But she wins the gold medal as, obviously Baylor's greatest women's basketball player ever. And also with the gold medal for men's tennis, John Peers from Australia. That's not bad. It's getting better. So 2 gold medalists for Baylor out there. Snaps to them. That was awesome. Great Olympic Games. I do want to know what you guys think about the power rankings we talked about earlier. I'm not terribly surprised to see Baylor where they're at. But with that, with some of the other weird picks kind of right ahead of them, I'm like, it does make you question the whole list. But I think Baylor at 12 is okay. Colorado right ahead of them. I think they have a lot of question marks too, but they do get the edge in the quarterback department. So I'm not surprised to see if they were more than 1 or 2 spots ahead of them, I would have been really surprised. I think BYU is getting a little bit of the short end of the stick here. I think the bad could be bad, but I think they're a little bit better than 15th or wherever they were. I think they're a little bit better than that. But let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below, please. I know, there's big question marks around this season this year, and maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid a bit too much, which I definitely have not been accused of in the past, of this positive momentum on the recruiting trail this summer, which obviously means nothing for this 2024 team. But I don't know. This year, I tend to buy it just a little bit more that there's a different kind of energy around the building. And I think that's because they brought in a new coaching staff, and that kind of livens things up a little bit. I know it did for this team in 2021. I'll say that. But 12th, I'm not surprised at, and hopefully that will mean that Baylor can shock the world, shock the Big 12, and finish in at least 11th. I'm hoping so. And the Deion thing, yeah, I just, again, I don't think he's evil, but there's plenty of things we can point to that he said and that he's done that would imply that he's not a great guy. That's all. Not a great guy. And he hasn't won there yet. So we'll see. Anyway, let me know what you think about those down in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button to know when we are dropping our podcasts every day, 5 days a week. And you will get alerts that every time they're coming out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for making it your first listen today and every day. We have got some big shows this week. We're continuing on with our Big 12 preseason previews. We will also have a big-time Baylor football commit on the show this week, maybe even sooner than you think. That is coming up this week on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.